SMYLE CO podcast. My name is KEVIN Hayashi, and I'm one of the co-founders of SMYLE CO. SMYLE CO is a platform that we are using to inspire and encourage creators to live their dreams and do what makes them smile. Other than our award-winning gummies that we have also. My guest today is BERRIAN. Bernard, what's up, man?
Good to see you. Kevin?
I'm great. Bernard was an epic athlete. I remember looking up to and watching crush every single DB that got in his way when I was when he was crushing the league. He's a former collegiate athlete that played for Fresno State, first team All-American. He set school records for touchdowns, receptions, all-purpose yards. I know I'm probably going to miss a million things that he did. He pretty much has all the records for receiving with David Carr and Billy Volek, right?
Correct.
Yeah, both great quarterbacks that played in the NFL. Got drafted by the Chicago Bears and played with the Minnesota Vikings. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you led the NFL in yards per reception, and that still is an NFL record?
I don't think it's not a record. I don't think it's a record.
Okay.
I tied the record for the longest catch, but I did lead
99 yards.
Yeah, that's
right?
correct. And I did lead the league that year in yards per catch. Yes.
Wikipedia, you got to get your stuff together, man.
Wikipedia,
come on.
Be off.
So it's a pleasure to have you on, man, and I'm excited to have you. A big part of what we're doing is really trying to encourage and inspire people, to live their dreams and realize that we can do anything we want with this world as long as you work hard and you set your mind to it and you believe and you live in that energy. So if you don't mind, man, if you want to kind of start with kind of like how, when you were younger, when you started playing football, what got you into it? What got you motivated, inspired?
Shoot, to be honest with you, it was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was my inspiration as far as being an athlete. I wanted to do anything and everything he could. Like, that song, Like Mike, I want to be like Mike.
Absolutely.
That was me. I was literally trying to do anything and everything Mike could. Me and my brothers were uber competitive. The kids across the street were uber competitive. So we had like a little chain of competitiveness going around.
And you played basketball too?
I love basketball.
Yeah,
basketball is my number one sport.
All right.
I ended up playing football, but my dream was actually I wanted to be the first two-way athlete to play basketball and football. But basketball was actually my number one. I love basketball. Growing up, I think playing basketball is what made it easier to transition into football. It's just, I think, being athletic, being an athlete and doing everything with the ball and being able to contort and twist your body and trying to do all that stuff Mike was trying to do was made it just easier to be transition into being a receiver. I always knew receiver was going to be my natural position in the league, but being able to contort my body with the ball, it was easy to do the same thing when the ball was catching. So I had a big catch radius.
Yeah.
When I was young and being able to do that from a young age, everybody knew I was like, hey, you're going to do something. You're going to be something. I always knew from a young age I was going to go somewhere. I remember telling my mom I was about 8 or 9 years old, I'm going to be in the NFL, is what I said, or an NBA player. And she was kind of like, one of those right type of things, but not knowing, because you just sit a little kid. But I've always known. It's just and I think that's one of the things that separates. I want to say separates just regular athletes from professional athletes is the belief system.
Yeah.
There's no ounce of doubt in our body. Like, we don't ever doubt ourselves. And once you start to get that seed of doubt, that's when things start to fall, start to fail for you. So it's really like, that's really the secret to success is really just to believe in yourself. It's always baby steps. And really the secret to success is just not giving up.
Yeah.
That's what I think another key dynamic that separates just regular athletes or not just athletes, but any just person that decides to being great, is that they don't quit. They don't know how to quit. And if they do, failure is always going to happen. We're always going to come across failure. But like I said, we just don't know how to quit. I've failed 1,000, 1,000,000 times at whatever I've tried to do. But the thing is I don't just do it to try to get it done, to get it done. I do it 1,000 times to get it to be great at it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, okay, I got it, now it's done. I'm going to do it so I can get it to the way I really want to have it done, towards just, it's like repeating your name. Everything's repeating your name. It's unconscious effort. It's not even a thought, just automatically reacting and doing.
Yeah, I like you bringing Michael up because, you know, he changed everybody that existed on earth. You know what I mean? Like it was insane.
This guy's God.
And you know, on our Instagram for SMYLE CO, I put quotes up of inspirational people, and you know, I dig through quotes, and Michael always comes up. I've missed 3,000 shots in my life, but I'm still going to take I've missed this many game winners, and that's so powerful for people to think of, because too many people dwell on the negative things or the missed shot and be like, instead of, damn, I'm gonna make that next one. I'm gonna get in the gym. You know what I mean? So I love hearing that, man. When did you when your college process, if you want to share a little bit about that, like deciding to go to Fresno State, and were you thinking about other schools, or how'd that work out?
Oh, I was definitely thinking about other schools. Fresno was it was funny. Fresno, like, because I was already introduced to Fresno through my sister. My sister's about 10 years older than me already, so she was already going to school here. So I was already kind of visiting the Fresno already a little bit. So it was kind of familiar to me a little bit. And then I remember watching some of the games, Freedom Bowl on TV, because they were on TV. I remember watching some of the older receivers that I played with here on TV too. Ronnie Wright, Salim Mahdi, Adnoff Harris, some of the guys that were playing, that were receivers, Charles Smith, that were playing. And they were like, it was funny, like they were little guys. Just remember seeing like, these little guys are out here balling. Yeah. And Fresno was balling at the time. But our high school, we were really good in football in high school. That's kind of why I don't think I played college anywhere. Atwater High School. I went to Atwater High School. And we were always a championship team, always going to CIF sections, pretty much my whole high school year, every year. Never won it, but always going. So we get there, my junior year, we get there, and Lance Briggs, I played with Chicago. Oh, wow. Linebacker in Chicago. He's at Elk Grove at the time. And I remember we're getting recruited, and he committed to Arizona at the time. And at the game, I hadn't committed yet. I hadn't decided where I was going. And they kicked our ass. 77-22 was the game. Lance had like 600 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. It's crazy. But I remember after the game going up to him and say, "Yo, I'm coming to Arizona. Like I'm dead on. I'm gonna do it." My goal was, I think during that process, was I wanted to go to SC. When I was a kid, my dream was always to either go to Florida State. I was a Deion Sanders fan. Yeah. Florida State or North Carolina. So those definitely they didn't fall through. So I remember telling them about Arizona, and then for some reason, I don't know how or what, I dropped Arizona for some reason, and then just got stuck on Fresno. I guess kept getting stuck on Fresno. I was thinking about Oregon, thinking about Washington State, but I got stuck on Fresno for some reason. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna commit to Fresno. I like what they got or whatever, and I committed to Fresno, and that's all she wrote.
So the first quarterback you played with was Billy Volek?
Yeah. Big old Billy.
Billy, he ended up with the Titans. He actually went to my high school, Clovis West, and he crushed it. And then how many years was that with him?
I had like 1.5. I want to say like 1.5 with Billy.
And then David Carr came in, and you guys absolutely bashed everything.
But then, yeah, they were doing the gray shirt with Dave. So it was weird at that time coming in. You'd see him, he'd be playing on the team. He was splitting time with Billy at the time. And then boom, he was gone. Then Billy was a full-time starter. And then Dave came back in the scene again. It was weird at the time. It was weird. But they made it all work. And we had a great season. We had a great run while they were playing.
So that was, if you don't know, that was the best season I think Fresno State's ever had in football. They were number 8 in the nation. David Carr, the quarterback whose brothers of Derek Carr, was the quarterback of the Raiders and now is with the Saints. But David was the number 1 pick in the draft that year. Of all the players in the world, he was the number 1 pick. Unfortunately, went to an expansion team, the Texans, so he had no offensive line and didn't really have an opportunity to shine. But man, the number 1 pick with one of the best receivers in the world. So you want to touch a little bit on how that was? Like, did you guys just have a feeling you guys were going to be that good?
Like, I knew Dave was going to be good. You talking about who was the starting quarterback, Billy and Dave? Like at that time, like my introduction to Billy and Dave, I got introduced to them both at the same time. I didn't know either one of them. I didn't know who they looked like or who their names were, but I knew one was a starter or whatever. And I was doing a summer camp here at Fresno State. Summer Bridge is what it was called. Is a just opportunity to earn some extra credits during the summer, and then you can be able to work out with Fresno State at the time. So I signed up doing that, and then we're working out, and Dave and Billy, they're throwing, and I'm noticing, you know, who's throwing harder, who's throwing a little bit more accurate or whatever. And I was like, I remember after we were done, one kind of slipped through and hit my chest a little bit. I was like, ooh, that one kind of hurt. And then I was like, after we were all done working out, I asked somebody, I was like, so who's the starter? Because I wanted to find out, because there was a difference in arm strength, and they were like, "Is that guy?" And I was like, interesting. And I just walked. I didn't say anything about it. I just walked away. And I was like, interesting. And then end up Dave ended up being the #1 pick, and it was like I tell everyone this, like I played with a lot of great quarterbacks, a lot of good quarterbacks. Some of them at the tail end of their career, so arm strength and probably accuracy probably tailed off a little bit. But they always, who's the best quarterback you played? I kind of tell people that Dave was a freaking stud. Like they have no idea his accuracy, arm strength, like.
Well, I remember
he
just
was a dude.
watching you run down the field on a streak, and just that ball falling, and you would smoke somebody, and the crowd just going wild over and over and over. I was like, another one?
Yeah,
another one.
It was a great time. Like Andy was our offensive coordinator at the time. He did a good job too, like of using our strengths. Dave had an arm, so we wanted, it was easy. We had a good running game. We had talent on the outside, and Dave had an arm, so we didn't want to waste it. He wanted to utilize everybody's talent. So we used drop back passes a lot. And one of my talents is I could track the ball. As soon as, I track the ball, and it doesn't matter how far down the field, it's like I know where it's going to be. And, the speed is just easy. I'm a track runner, so, 100 yard, 100 meters, that's nothing for me. I was a 400 meter. So the speed I'm going to maintain, I'm really picking up speed. We get 50, 60 yards down the field. Now I'm finally at full speed, and it's easy for me to go find the ball. So it was, if you got the arm strength, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get it.
I saw it. So with that, man, I mean, that was like one of the most poppin' times that Fresno ever was, and I think it's because of the energy that you guys were bringing into this city. Yeah,
it was crazy times. I mean, the energy we had in the football stadium was electric. Everything, we were selling out pretty much every game. Record setting. I mean, like one game after game was a record setting game in attendance. We were putting up big numbers. We were doing it. I mean, we weren't just doing it offensively either. We're doing it on the offensive side. We're doing it defensively. We're doing it with special teams. Like any way you can think about it, we were scoring and putting up points. Defensive fumbles, interceptions, blocked punts, punt returns, kickoff returns, touchdowns, receptions, any way you can think about it, we were putting up points. So it's really, really exciting for people to come. And it was not just only the football team at that time. The baseball team was winning.
Yep.
They were great. The softball team was #1. They were winning championships. Basketball was entertaining with Shark, and the Tark was here at that time. Like, so it was a really, really electric time to be in Fresno and especially in Fresno State sports.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I hope it gets back to that soon.
Yeah, it looks like it's on the way.
So talk a little bit about like the NFL draft process and all that. Like how exciting was that for you, and how did that feel?
It was good. So I want to say, man, I'm trying to remember it coming down. Now I remember. I was where are you going? What was the All-Star game? The East-West Shrine All-Star game. So it was going into that, and it was coming into decision because I was waiting to get invited to the Senior Bowl. Mm-hmm. I was waiting to get invited to Senior Bowl, and it was taking a while. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to this East-West Shrine game. So I commit to East-West Shrine game. The day I commit, the next day after that, Senior Bowl sends me the invite, and I'm like, man, here we go. So I'm getting ready to decommit to East-West Shrine game and commit to the Senior Bowl. And Coach Hill was like, nah, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. You don't want to do that. I said, it's kind of, you already committed. You made a commitment, be a man, hold your word, stick your word. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. So I don't go to Senior Bowl. I go to East West Shrine game. Get to East West Shrine game. Start flying. We're at Fresno State, so the games we scheduled, like we're trying to play these teams. We're trying to go out and play big schools. We're trying to go out and find the competition. Like that's how we were at Fresno.
Yeah.
Like we really had a dog mentality. And I think that's why we won and got to where we got to, is because we really had some dogs on that team. And we really wanted to go out there and compete. So I'm still the same way. I wanted to, who's here? Like I want to go against the best. Let's go. Let's line up finally and find out. So I start going up. We start doing one-on-ones. We start doing like little team drills, and I'm shaking everybody up, and I'm starting them down. I'm seeing Miami. I'm seeing Oklahoma. I'm seeing Tennessee. All this, whatever. So now they're starting to notice. So now they're starting to come, and they're like, nah, they're pushing people aside so they can get some.
Oh,
and I was like, all right.
best.
And it's funny because Stephon Page at the time, he was the coach. He was the receiver coach, and he was like, when you get if they try to press you, whatever, give them this and coaching me up. So one of the Miami guys, he steps up. He's like, nah, I put some money out the way. And I start laughing, start smiling. I'm like, yeah, you about to get this too. As soon as he comes up, he tries to press me. He tries to quick jam me. It's a little technique that DBs try to use when they see him. They try to disrupt people real quick. So I swiped the ball. As soon as I put my hand up, it was just that quick, and it was gone. And everybody said, ooh, like that. So pretty much like in the story, like me, Tank Johnson, he actually played with me in Chicago, got drafted there. We were like the hits of that Shrine game. We also had Sammy Parker was there, but he got injured too. He pulled his hamstring. So it was gonna be like me. Wes Walker was there too, actually, as well. And it was us three actually that were gonna be like the receivers at the time. And then doing all the workouts or whatever, it was like the receiver coach from USC was our position coach. And the whole time we're talking there, he was like, man, when you're in high school, he was like, I was trying to get you. He's like, when you were in high school, I was like, I wanted to go. I was like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? He's like, Pete Carroll, he came down to high school, visited, did everything. He was like, yeah, Pete came and saw you or whatever. He said you were too slow. And I was like, what? I was pissed off about it. I was like, yeah. And then I started looking at who they had picked, and they had got Daryl Rideau, Kareem Kelly, and I'm looking at their 100-meter times. I'm like, okay, well, I can see why I sound too slow. These guys are all 10-2, 10-1. I'm like, I ain't that fast. I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. I wasn't really a 100-meter runner. So, and then he's looking at my tapes. The tapes he's looking at, I'm playing both ways. So he's seeing me turn. I'm pulling away and I'm scoring, but I'm not like pulling away like he wants to see, like the speed he wants to see on tape. So I'm like, whatever, all right, that's cool. So we keep working out, and they're like, man, we're gonna try to make you the all-star of this game because we see you got it, whatever you're doing, if you give me the ball. So I'm balling. We get to score the touchdown early in the game. We're getting to probably like 50, 60 yards. We're getting about halftime. I go up for a pass, and I come down on it, break my thumb, didn't realize it. And then I'm just like slacking like this, and then about 6 plays later, I'm like, yo, my thumb is bugging. Something's wrong with my thumb. They go in, all right, let's go x-ray. Where do they start pulling around? All right, let's go get some x-rays. They're like, yeah, you broke your thumb. I was like, damn. So it slowed me down. Like I had surgery there in San Francisco at the time, had surgery there. It was my first time running into T.O. at the surgery place. It was funny. And then, so that was like, I want to say 2 months before
Draft?
before the combine.
Oh.
So I want to say it was like either like a month or 2 months before the combine. So it kind of slowed me down on having to work out, trying to work out. So I was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting when I get to this combine.
Was anything going through your mind?
I'm not going to be able to, that was my thing. I didn't care. I don't care what you saw or whatever, anything. As soon as you see me work out, you're going to love me. So I was like, damn, this is going to slow me down because I'm not going to be able to work out. So I was kind of like worried and shifting about that and thinking about that on my mind. And then went through training, got the cast off, it was healed up, went through. I don't think I got enough training as I needed or should have got to, or should have gotten to prepare it the way I wanted to prepare for it. But whatever, went through the combine, did everything, had all the meetings. I remember meeting with Herm Edwards. That was, I think, my favorite meeting. He was funny. Really, really like who he is. He doesn't hide it at all.
He is a character.
Yeah, he is definitely funny. And then just went through the process, and then just waited till draft day. Had a little draft party at the house. Had my friends, family all over at the house. waiting to get selected or whatever. And then we went through. I remember going to visit with San Francisco. I remember going to visit with San Francisco, and the receiver coach there was like, "Yeah, we're getting you. We're coming. We're getting you. There's no doubt in my mind. We're gonna take you." And then first round goes, second round goes, and they pick. I forget. I think it was a lineman they pick in the second round. So I'm like, whatever. All right. So get to the third round, and I'm like, all right, it's time. I know it's going down. It's ready. They get to their pick, San Francisco's pick. And they pick, I think it's Derek Hamilton out of Oklahoma. There's a receiver from either Oklahoma, I can't remember who they are now, from Oklahoma, and then there's another school. No, it's Oklahoma State, and then I want to say like Texas Tech or something. But one was Derek Hamilton. They drafted him, and then 2 picks later, they drafted another receiver, and I was, they don't love me. They hate me. I was hurt. I was crushed because I wanted to be a Niner so bad. My favorite team. I grew up a Niner fan. Yeah. Jerry Rice was my favorite receiver. One of my favorite. There's 3 favorite football players: Barry Sanders, Jerry Rice, and Deion Sanders. So I was like, I was sold. I was ready to go. Didn't pick me. Then the next pick comes up in Chicago. My older brother's a Chicago Bears fan. I didn't really like Chicago at all. When growing up, Chicago always ruined shit for the 49ers. Yeah. Either kicked them out of the playoffs or somewhere like that, or somehow messed up home field advantage for them. Yeah. I used to hate Chicago all the time. I get the phone call. My brother's looking me dead in my eye. Like, I pick up the phone and I'm talking to him. It's Lovey on the phone. And he's like, "Hey, Bernard, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And I was like, "Yeah, it's nice to meet you. So, you know, you're going to be a Bear now. You're welcome to be a Bear." My brother's dying laughing right now. And I was like, "Oh, great. I can't wait to, I got to get off the phone." And he starts laughing. I was kind of hurt a little bit, but I was happy that I
Man, that's a crazy moment, too. It's because you being a Niner fan, they had 2 picks, receiver. I could imagine how you felt. And then
I was hurt.
And then you're like being excited, man. That's a trip.
It was a trip of emotions for sure.
And then you, man, Chicago's been pretty good to you. Yeah.
Definitely. I wish I could have finished my career in Chicago. I mean, I love that city. I really love that city, that town. Like, it's all set up. You can go back there now and have a ball. But my time, I was grateful. I was grateful to be drafted there. They gave me my shot. Excelled there. Played is about as best as, I don't want to say as best as I could play, but has made what I could do with what we had going on. So
who were your quarterbacks there?
We had a carousel of quarterbacks. They were coming in. Gosh,
I wish
Rex, Kyle Orton, Jeff Blake. Oh, I mean, it was everywhere down the line.
That was the time, man. I wish they had a solid quarterback for you.
Yeah,
but you did the best with what you had.
Yeah, So then, still had a chance, and then went signed free agency in Minnesota. Enjoyed my time playing with Minnesota. So it was still a great career. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The experience was awesome. Met some awesome people. Met some people. Got to see some people. Got to see some other great athletes too as well. So,
are you stay in contact with any of your old teammates?
Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. We still travel. We still go through places. Golf. Get on the golf course every now and then. Tank teaches me how to. How to actually swing.
How's that golf game?
It's getting there.
Yeah,
it's getting there. I actually went down to them like a year ago. It was like kind of in the middle of COVID. I went down there to visit. I was like, "Hey, I'm coming through Arizona right now." I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then he was like, "Hey, let's go back out here in the backyard real quick. I saw you post a video of you swinging at the golf range." And I was like, "Your swing sucks." So I was said, "What are you talking about?" I was pissed off too because I had taken lessons in Chicago while I was in Chicago, and I'm like, "Hold on, what you mean my swing sucks?" He's like, "Yeah, you're swinging. You don't swing at all correct." And I was like, "Well, I was kind of hitting it straight. Thought I was hitting pretty solid square." And I was like, "Damn." All right, so he shows me, and I was like, "Whoa, this is totally different." And I was pissed off because I had paid for lessons, and I was like, I paid for lessons while I was in Chicago for about 6 months. I was like, he never ever once showed me how to correctly swing a golf club.
Really?
Not one time.
Dude, the golf swing is so crazy.
Not one time. And I was like, now I'm starting to get used to it. I'm like, okay, now we can work.
Well, we'll have to get. You have
Now
to
we
come
can
visit
go
me in
to
San
work.
Diego. We'll have to get on the course.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about the restaurant.
So yeah, while I was playing in Minnesota, I got approached by some guys because I had contacts in Chicago still, and they wanted. I had always been business acumen. I always wanted to be business minded all the time anyway. So when I reached out to people or whatever, that's what I was trying to expand and trying to network around with people and build a network that way out there in Minnesota. So word kind of got around. So I've met up with some guys, and they were in the restaurant business there. And a lot of the restaurants that I actually frequent, when I went on like dates or stuff like that, it was funny. They actually made the concept for all those restaurants, and I was like, okay, that's what sparked my attention a little bit more. And then they was like, well, we got this new restaurant idea concept coming up, and we want to go in and we want to invite you in on it. So I thought about it, and I saw it, I liked it, and then we thought about expanding, and we always wanted to expand and make kind of not franchise it, but just have multiple locations. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. If we think about Chicago, I was like, yeah, that's cool. So I went on that, partnered up. We had the first one there in downtown Minneapolis. That one did great. So we decided, all right, it's time to build another one. We built another one, a second one in Bloomington, Minnesota. Sorry, Bloomington. It's about 15 minutes from downtown.
What's the name of it?
Bloomington.
Bloomington.
That one. Built the second one. Then that was doing great too. So we were like, that's the wrong order. Went to Chicago next. I didn't want to do the Chicago one because I actually told them Chicago is not a good city. It's not the market. This is a good restaurant and the concept is great, but just getting Chicago is a different beast. It's a different animal. Like you got to know people. You got to know the right people, and it's mob run. So, like if you're not a friend, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Your restaurant's not gonna be successful.
Right.
Basically, it is. So I was like, I don't think we should do that in this market. At least not where you're trying to put this restaurant at. If we go somewhere else, you're gonna have a little bit more success, but not where you're trying to put it in the area you're trying to put. It's not gonna work. So I was like, I don't want any part of this one. Didn't do that one. That one failed. I think it is still there. I'm not sure. It might be still open, but that one prompted we're still doing successful with the first one in downtown Minneapolis. So we opened up the third one in Bloomington, and kind of at the same time we opened up one in the airport too as well. So that's what we got. We got those, and I'm involved in the 3 out of the 4. So we got that. Also do hedge fund. We two restaurants in that. Backyard Burgers is one. The other one I can't remember what the other one's. Another fast food chain restaurant. But total number of restaurants in that hedge fund is about 74. I want to say 74. 4 restaurants in that one. That one does really, really great too as well. It's all run. Those chains of restaurants are all in the South, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, all pretty much down in the South out there. I got my hands
That's awesome,
in a
man.
lot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I got my hands in a lot.
And that's one thing I want to encourage other people that were in your position. You know what I mean? To like follow in some of the footsteps that you did because you made some right choices.
Yeah, I made some more smart choices. I made some stupid and idiotic choices too. So it was like one of those things I always try to tell. I was like, I don't know how some of the people like lose the money that they actually make, because I always kind of try to compare it to my situation, like kid and child, or child in college. So you're already going into, I got to care for somebody else. I'm going into a professional thing. I got to care for somebody else. There's always, I want to take care of my family, on that, but it's not real. It's not real until you have your own kid. Now it's real, like,
Yeah.
because you always, your family can always kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But now you have someone that's really dependent on you, so the pressure is a little bit different. So I went into the league wanting to make sure that I came out of the league not having to work, not just with my money. I wanted to make sure I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
If I wanted to work, going to be on my terms. I'm going to be the boss.
Yeah.
I'm not working for anybody.
Yeah.
Not taking orders. I always knew as a young kid, 9 to 5 wasn't for me. I saw my parents, they were military. Taking orders was not for me. So I didn't want to do it. There's no way. So I was like, this athlete thing, and we're going to make a run on this, and it's going. Not failing. But yeah, that's what I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to come out and not have to work. So it kind of put my head in like this, like I said, business acumen, in kind of keep me on the narrow and straight path and not really mess up too much. But like I did mess up. I partied. I spent freaking money everywhere. I did the wild stuff, as wild as you can do it. Made stupid investments, lost money, stupid investments, did that too. And I was like, damn, how did people really and only had one contract, one huge contract. And I'm like, damn, I know people that had 2, 3 huge contracts. And then I'm looking around and like, you're broke. And I'm looking around like, well, where's your stuff? Where's your cars? No cars. Where's your houses? No houses. Like, well, where'd it go? You don't really have that much jewelry. Like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I was sitting there and comparing all the time. It's crazy how people really blow their money.
Yeah. So and what's interesting about the contracts too is
it's not as much as what is written there.
Right. You get guaranteed, and it's performance based. Is that what
Yeah, it is. It is definitely performance based for sure. It's not guaranteed money. I know they talk about, oh, so and so's got 60 million guaranteed. It's more so because it's upfront in the way the contract is structured. That's why they call it guaranteed. It's more so this player, they're not going to cut this player because they just paid him 20 million. They just paid him 20 million because he just signed this contract right now. So he's pretty much going to be here for at least, and then the next year they're going to pay him 23 million. So it's going to be hard for them to cut him because they just paid him a big lump sum money. So that's why they kind of say this is what's guaranteed.
So if you get that guaranteed money, and you say you don't come to work the next day, is that guaranteed money still there? Or they pull that?
No, that's gone.
Right. So it's
you don't
almost
come work.
guaranteed.
It's not even.
It's guaranteed if you
got to
do
work
those things.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more
sure.
sense for me then. And when you were, can you touch on like your diet and like what you had to do to like, because football is a demanding sport. And I know you said that your diet's better now, but could you touch on that?
We had a guy and when I was in Chicago, like the last year, he's the one that changed my mind on what to actually eat. He was actually really, really good about our health and really good about our strength and conditioning. So he's the one that kind of led me into eating what I thought was healthy at the time or healthier at the time and kind of changed my mind. But definitely strict diet. I ate like freaking pig. I mean, I was a little guy, so I literally like 3 meals a day that's nothing.
What were you weighing when you were playing?
185, between 185, 190. 3 meals a day is nothing. I really had like between 5 and 6 meals. I was so hungry. Like other players, like, you got a tapeworm. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, we're going out. Hey, yo, guys, we got to go eat. Got to eat. Always saying that. But I used to have to take food out to practice. When I was in Chicago, whenever I got drafted, they're like, well, my receiver coach was like, B, why you always, no, actually when I got to Minnesota, he used to be like, B, my receiver coach used to ask me, B, why are you always running in? It's like the same time we get to practice, you always running inside the locker room. I was like, I ain't going to the bathroom, coach. It's like, I'm hungry. I got to eat. So I'd like say something in my locker room because kitchen's already closed down from the kitchen. I say something in my locker room and eat it real fast and then come back out. And he was like, he started laughing. He was like, well, look here, because they keep asking about you. So they keep asking me about you. What's the hell's going on? So just bring the food out to me. I'll hold it. And
you think you're doing drugs or something?
He's like, we just eat it on the sideline or whatever, so you don't have to keep running in. I was like, all right, whatever. That's cool. So he just used to hold me, but it was just like that, constantly eating like plates of food all the time. Now, like my diet's changed up, totally different now.
But like when you were eating, were you just like, was it the standard meat and potatoes type thing, or just whatever you got?
It was before it was whatever I got. When I was in Chicago, it was damn near whatever I got. I was used to college, like Wendy's every day was lunch. Pretty much.
Did they have like a nutritionist? Or
they definitely had. They didn't really. They had chefs. I wouldn't say we didn't really have nutritionists yet. That was like kind of new.
Yeah.
That was just really kind of starting, I want to say. And then where people would venture out on their own and hire a nutritionist. That was kind of a new thing. But definitely had training table, had training meals, and better meals than what you're used to in college. So you think you're eating good. So like I said, it was like one of the last years I was in Chicago. That's when we had a new strength and conditioning coach come in. He kind of changed my idea on what was healthy. But definitely was, at the time it was steak, chicken, whatever, fish. I was all big on seafood. I always did potatoes, salad, so I tried to get my greens. I love okra. It's my favorite vegetable. So okra was like every other day pretty much. If I could have it every day, I'd eat it every day. Definitely some veggies, but I was more meat loaded when I was playing definitely when I was an athlete. But after I retired and started learning and really researching what, is a lot healthier. Then I went through, changed my diet. I went through the whole plant-based thing. I did that for like in and out, I want to say probably like 6 years. I still do it now. But I'll go in and out. I think the longest time I went strictly plant-based was like 4 months. It was like 4 months. I was able to do that long. I was juicing like crazy. It was crazy.
How'd you feel?
I did feel great.
Yeah.
I did feel great. Held up my body a little bit. Not everything really healed up that I wanted to. I still got little problems with my hamstring and this left knee behind it or whatever, but almost all the other aches and pains kind of went away. I kind of noticed that some stuff a little bit kind of comes back now that I'm back eating meat a little bit more, but it's like now I'm like kind of the journey I'm at is more so I can eat what I want to eat, but just make sure I clean out and make sure I take time to fast.
Yeah. How often do you fast?
That I'm trying to get to. Right now I'm trying to do the intermittent fasting and just changing my diet when I eat and when I break my fast in the morning. So I'm building up to where I can actually get down to like 10, 14 day actual fast. And then if I get to that, I'd like to get to at least when the seasons change. So 4 times a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Fast. There's so many benefits from that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. How was your recovery time after those games? Like,
sheesh. I'm lucky. I was a receiver, so I wasn't in the trenches, taking a pounding or anything like that. So, I mean, you always had aches and pains. So, like, really, you're playing through something. So if you get something, you're playing through with it for pretty much the rest of the season until that heals up, and you're worried about that. Most of the times, you got something else on it, so you don't even really pay attention to what other aches and pains you have. But it's usually like if you're healthy throughout the whole season, like you'll know it. You'll definitely know it, and you'll see it in people's plays. But most people are, for the most part, everybody's injured pretty much the whole year.
Did they have the Thursday night games?
No, we did not have Thursday night games. I think I did. We did. I never played. I don't think I played in one. It was the flex schedule at the time. They weren't just always.
If you did, what do you think? Like, those players are coming back on a Thursday.
Going through hell. They're pissed off. I remember, I think that was one of the biggest things. Now I think about it, I don't think we had Thursday night games, because I remember now going through CBA negotiations and then talking about that, trying to add, and that's one of the arguments was like, nah, we need time to recover. Like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you want us to come out here and now you guys are doing this, like, and then you guys want us to perform too? Like, there's no, it's hard. So, like, people don't really understand like the grind that really goes through that, and trying to get to week 2, just to get to the next game. Like, it's really, really a grind, because that game, it really does take a toll on you. And it is, even when you're not taking a hit and punishing all the time, like, and you're not in them trenches all the time. Like I said, I'm on the outside of them. There's not that much hitting and punishment goes on, but it still takes a toll on your
100
body.
miles an hour.
It's a car crash.
5 seconds.
It's a car crash every single time.
My body's wrecked just from high school, bro. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, definitely. Like right now, I'm doing the financial services thing, so that's my philanthropic venture right now. So I see me and the people I'm helping out having their own offices, actually, and making a lot of income for them. That's one of the things I've always wanted to help people, is economically. And I always say, you take care of a lot of other problems that you have in your life if you fix a lot of your economic problems.
Right.
It really is that simple. And a lot of times people don't. I wish people took the time to detail their finances as much as we detail other things, like say a wedding or something like that. You know what I mean? How the detail that goes into that, like,
absolutely.
I wish if we just like looked at our finances that way, people would be in a lot much better situations.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So many things that we're not taught. Obviously, we know how the schooling systems have been created, but like, I'm a big pusher on always improving your mind, body, and spirit, right? So those things first. And then that's why I like getting into the diet, mental and physical health. And then, yeah, finance is something that we do all day long, is use and spend
money,
right?
It's crazy.
And
I wish we didn't have to,
right? Exactly.
But it's necessary. It's needed. It's commodity that we can't get around it. So,
couple more questions, man. What are some of the things, you know, being in your platform, doing what you've done, just living your life? What are some of the best things that have like made you happy and made you smile?
One of the things, I think, definitely being able to take care of my family at any given point in time. You guys need something, boom, it's taken care of. There's never really a stress or a need for like, oh shit's gonna hit the fan. You know, there's never that worry is never there. That's definitely one of them. Helping out people that need help or that are trying to do something better for themselves is definitely another one. The children that I've come across, the kids, the adolescents that I come across, you know, that look up to you. Don't even want anything, just you know, standing there in awe. Those things make it's a feeling like it's undescribable, because like sometimes when you're playing in it, you take it for granted a little bit because you're playing in it and you see it, it's constant. But when you're done and been away from the game for a while, and you still see that same reaction from those kids, and you're like, man, it has a totally different meaning to you. And That's it definitely awesome. Gives you a really, really juicy smile.
And last question for you. What advice would you give to our listeners and anyone out there trying to live their dreams or following in a similar footsteps, or just in life in general? What would be your best advice to them?
The first one is really dream big, huge. Like, dream big. Don't limit your dreams, because if you start to limit your dreams, you're already putting a plateau on where you can go. Like, dream bigger than what you actually think you can achieve, and then go and get it. If nobody's laughing at you, it's really probably like, that's a real true statement. If no one's really laughing at you when you tell somebody what your dream is, it's not big enough. It really, really isn't big enough. But the other thing is not quit. Don't quit. I hate saying don't quit, because it's kind of taboo. Don't quit. Well, okay, what do you mean don't quit? Learn how to accept failure would be a better way to put it. Everybody's gonna fail. You're gonna fail at some time, at some point. It's what happens. It's who you become. You're gonna find out your character is gonna come a lot stronger on the other side of failure. I failed, like I said in the beginning. Basketball is my sport. I always use basketball as I failed 1,000 million of times. I wanted to be left-handed. I wanted to be left-handed. Bernard, there's only one way you got to be left-handed. You got to use your left-handed all the damn time. So it's right under the basket, not shooting threes, you know, little steps. That's how you become successful. That's how you get great. You got to start at the small, little, tiniest details. Stand right on the basket, left hand. All day long. Don't hit the net until you can hit 10 in a row. Then you can go to the other side, left hand.
Yeah.
Until you can hit 10 in a row without hitting the net. Then now you got all out. Now we can back up. Now we can back up a little bit. Just a couple feet. Left hand again. Don't hit the net until you get. I'd be out there for hours doing that. Hours. But that's what it takes. That's the dedication. That's the belief in yourself. I'm going to get this done.
Yep.
No matter what, at what cost, I'm going to get this done. And the earlier you begin to believe and take on those characteristics, the easier it is for you.
Yeah. 1,000%. Right on. Well, Bernard, it's been a pleasure, man. Really happy that I got to have you, and thank you for sharing all that, man.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
And, we'll be in touch, and we're going to have to celebrate